Hey, what's up, guys? It's Mr. Fibs. So today I want to do a little bit of an educational video. I'm going to talk about retracements, a little bit of clusters, but more so I wanted to talk about this actionable setup that I wanted to share with you. It's a trading system that I think can work. It worked so well, especially today for me, and I think my longer time frame setup and majority setup that I use, I wanted something that worked with both. So I'll run you through the indicators I'm using, but also at the same time, I'll give you a couple of examples of how to use it in your trading. Ideally, we're going to use 2 to 3 time frames. On the smaller time frame, you're going to be looking for confluence between the 3 and 15 minute, and on the longer time frames, you're going to be looking for like 15 and 65 minute, or longer time frame confluence with like the 15 minutes. So today, I'll start with SPY today. We'll go to the 3 minute on SPY. I'll go to the beginning of the session, and I'll have lines as support, but lines on the chart, previous support and resistances. I'll run through those later, but as of now, I'm just going to go through the EMAs and the setup. So on the 3 minute, I'm going to expand my indicator list. Here I have several indicators that I predominantly want to use for this setup and what I use in general. First, I usually go with this EMA cloud on TradingView, TrendSpider. You can usually find the combined EMAs under this like Ripster EMA. In general, I like to use the 513. It works really well for me on small time frames and on larger time frames. And this is my tighter EMAs. I'm a momentum trader, so I really like when price is tight on the EMAs. So I don't want to be in and out. But besides that, I actually like to use the 8 EMA. A lot of people use the 9. For me, I just like using Fibonacci numbers, so that 8 EMA works really well for me. And then the main part of this new system that I'm going to be introducing is this 34 minute EMA, another Fibonacci number. But the main reason for me that I like this EMA is a longer time frame EMA, and we'll be looking for confluence with this EMA on various time frames. So if we see something that's good on the 3 minute and the 15 minute, that's where we'll look for that entry, and we'll use the CCI, this Woody CCI, for possible tips and entries. So I'll cover how to read that. But yeah. Those are the EMAs. In general, I like to use volume by price. I really don't mind that at all. And then let's see. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I kept it really simple. The 513 I like on the longer time frame. I also do have a 200 longer time frame. I use that on the daily and the weekly. You can use a 200 EMA, 200 moving average, whatever your preference is. But that's my longer time frame. Okay, so let's start with the 3 minute. So on the 3 minute, what I'll do is I'll put up the 34 EMA, and in general, this time frame, the reason I'm going to be using TrendSpider is this multi-time frame analysis, and I like being able to look at the EMAs on both time frames. I can trigger them both. So if I press this button, that's the monthly period. So let me change that to here, the 15 minutes, since we're going to be looking at both. This is pretty much how I run the setup. So this dotted line will be that 15 minute 34, and then the solid line is that 3 minute. And I put the stroke thickness up bigger because this is what we're mainly watching for. But yeah, if I run the 3 minute, in general, we're looking for longs above the 34 and then shorts below the 34. But the main thing is we want confluence between the time frames. So the 3 minute, ideally, you want price above and above, like on, say, the 3 minute and the 15 minute, you want price above the 34 for each of those time frames. If I were to pull up, where is this? 2 charts, 1 symbol. If I were to pull up the 15 minute, So 15-minute intraday. So on the intraday over here, we had the morning we had the 15-minute, and we were below the 34 on the 15 at the open, right? We gapped up. There was a small gap that we had to fill. On the 3-minute, price tried to push higher, pushed into that EMA on the 15, couldn't get above it, and then came back into the gap. I had a fib level there, but we'll talk about that later. But the main thing is, I'm looking for when price finally gets above the 34 and confirms on both time frames. So we have the gap fill, and then it pushes back up to make that little higher high around 10:33 Eastern. But the main thing you're looking for is this EMA break above, confirmation of it, and then retest. And then we were above the long trigger for the day. So that's the idea, is that you can look for this confluence between these time frames and then get that entry. So let's see how we could have probably made it more precise. This is just using the 34 so far. So for me, multi-time frame analysis is big. So like, yeah, the scalp setup worked on the 3 and 15-minute, and then it wasn't until you got confirmation, like 11, where was that? Yeah, it was around here that we finally confirmed the 34, and then broke that opening range high. So break, retest that previous high, come down, retest in the range, make the higher low, and then supportive off the 34, which kind of gave you that move into 34 and whatnot. But a lot of people, like, once you get this move, they're like, oh, how do I stay in this trade, or how do I enter this trade better? For me, that's that smaller time frame EMA. So I don't want to cloud it up with the 5 and 13. So I'm just gonna put on the 8 EMA on both time frames. If you look, we got that EMA cross, that 8 through the 34, and we were supportive on that EMA cross, which is great. And that's one thing you can look for on like, say, longer time frame. Okay, we've been weak. The trend pretty much the trend previously, we were pretty consistent about staying under the EMAs on the pullback, or on the 34. So this EMA cross was really that big chance for momentum to catch up, right? On the 15-minute. But for me, the big thing is, if you look carefully on the 3-minute, on the open, how can you time this entry better to get in on the range? So what we typically do, I'll turn off this and set up one chart. What I typically do is that morning range fib off the morning range. So typically I do downside extensions, because I'm like, if we're in the trend and we're weaker, I know how I feel relative to the chops on the trigger. I know we're bullish above. I'm just looking for where we would theoretically pull back in the range. So this is like pretty much how I set it up. We make the high in the morning, boom, try to make the higher low. Can't do it. 30 minutes is passed around here. So this is like that 30-minute orb. Then you have that move down to fill the gap. At this point, I don't really have anything set up on my Fibs intraday. But what I'll show you is 65-minute. Okay. We were watching what? We were watching this this descending wedge. So come through line, and then I was watching these wicks. The wicks. Watching the wicks. And then coming down here. So we had two trend lines that we were already on the watch for. Let's see if I can finesse this more. This is more like this, because I was looking at the wicks here. So it was like through that range. So I was looking for a break above on intraday. Something like that. And then you have that false break above, EMA rejection, price kind of stays in. Okay, so yeah, from looking from there, we came in, and then on the 3 minute in the morning, we were able to observe what? In fact, that we had the break above, and then it kind of came into that bottom end, but we were signaling that we could come back and retrace into this pattern, confirm it, and then we had our 432 chop zone, which was right about here, which we didn't leave. Think about it. We didn't break out until we came back and, like, yeah, we made the new high, but confirmed the chop zone, held the EMA, and then we go. So, yeah, that's good. And then the reason I probably don't freak out at the open is that morning range fib. So I'll draw that for you guys too. If I were to just draw one for the morning from low to high, it would be like this. And then we know 1272 and 1618 possible areas profit take. One for the 1272, didn't go for the full gap, came back above, and then we were supportive within the morning range above that deeper fib retracement 786. So kind of that golden pocket area. And went. And then for upside, how do you stay in this trade longer? So I mentioned the EMAs. And then I have my tighter EMAs, which I can share with you once I get this out the way. So let's put the 200. And then I'm going to change this to the 15 minute and then just put the 15. Okay, so I'm actually going to turn it off here. This dotted gray is the 200 EMA on the 15 minute. So we were still on the longer time frames. We didn't have that much momentum, and we from the newsletter we know 350 435.50 was that area that we could possibly get that longer time frame confirmation to go to the chop zone or to the wider range above. So this is how I set it up. You saw the downside extension, the bounce. Once we made the higher low, I kind of knew, okay, this high to this low, we're going to get fib extensions off of that. And then I also noticed this flag. This is the other flag that actionable setup we saw. And then if you remember, I was like the break of the flag intraday. And look, how it was right at that 215 minute EMA. But how did we know that price could potentially go over there? We're going to run the fib from high to low here. We know 1272 extension right here, 1272 was at 433.69. If I go to the newsletter, let me see, 433. Yeah, I mean, we've been cautious of weakness under 433, so we pretty much off the morning range. We hit this deeper retracement on the bullish pullback from the morning range, and then we also held the continuation fib here around 433. So 433, we knew the sellers at least intraday from this range, and some of the consolidation below, there was merit to the pattern, but we weren't sure if we were going to get the continuation. So this 1.618, typically, what did I say? We look for a profit take around this area, and the 1272. When I noticed the profit take didn't really come in, we didn't get that pullback to these previous highs again with this impulse. I was like, okay, there might be momentum to go for this 434. It makes sense. 434. In which that kind of began the flagging process. If I come to the 15 minute, turn off the 200 EMA there. And then I'm going to talk about the CCI 1 second. It's very close. But if I come to the 15 minute, this is the 1618. So we had a strong move over the EMAs. And then if I have my tighter EMAs, this is why I have it. We're holding that 5. So for me, I'm like, okay, not much has changed. The momentum's there. I want to talk about the CCI, but I don't want to inundate you guys. So I'm just going to go with the Fibs for now. But we know, like, if I see the 15 minute and we're holding this, like I see this candle, no wick back down to this area, this block of price action, this consolidation price action, I'm going to assume the momentum still favors to the upside on the technical pattern. So we know after 1.618, we have the 2.618 target, which ended up being hit. But for me, the major thing was after we had broken this area and kind of made this high, and started going for the gap because I wanted to figure out statistically what could work for the gap. So we did run a new swing high for the fib. And it was from that low to, I believe, here? No, it was the flag. I think it was on the 5 minute. So low to the flag on the high. Yeah, just like that. 1272. Yeah, 535.15, and then 1.618 around 436.05. Yeah. So we were looking for that, and then we were looking at that flag end of day for that possible 2.618 to 6 to here. But that wouldn't be getting back into the chops and all that stuff, which is why I like the setup for how it works with the newsletter, because we can look at this and the time frame, but then I can go and then just literally put the 15 minute and say I have the 15 minute 513, and I turn off the 513 for the 5 minute. Look at this. This is what I like. It's like literally all on the EMA. Like it's all on the 34 right there. That longer time frame. So that's why I like the setup. If I'm looking for confluence, let me just run through one last thing. Let's go to 65-minute with the fibs. SPY, or is it 15? Okay, yeah, we're going to go SPY 15. Last thing is the kind of confluence that I spotted here. I just want to talk about this. You can use trend-based fibs for multiple points. So if I see a lower high like this, I'm running a trend-based fib, which is from this high to this swing low, back to this kind of like double toppy area, and which is where we got the cascade. And it's similar. I look for the same thing. 1272 profit take. Tried to break above, go and fill the gap, couldn't do it. Okay, and then where? 1.618 gap below came, and then we kind of like chopped down into this 2.618. Something I want to do just to show you. And then lastly, on the daily, people talk about how to run your fibs or pick swing highs, swing lows. I'm not gonna actually like show you or walk you through it, but I kind of colored it out here. And this is for finding so for this blue one, I'm just watching the retracement from the high, like the bullish retracement. But from each of these points, I just want you to see the distinct, how I choose distinct swing highs that are valid. Like this is valid. I mean, this would be valid, but those are the valid areas to really do fibs, and it would be likewise on the other way. So say if I was doing something similar towards this recent swing high that we made, I'd be doing this low, this low, this low, even this low. I don't have those set up because I use multiple charts to do that. But lastly, let's go through the Woody CCI. So yeah, for this, I actually use two time frames. I use 14 and 50 period closes, and I like this for multi-time frame analysis as well. The big thing for me is if I watch let's go to the 3 minute this morning. 3 minute this morning. Okay, so we made this low, higher low, higher low. The main thing I'm watching is this blue one. The blue is a shorter time frame, so the blue over the zero line, you look for longs. Blue under the zero line, you look for shorts, right? But you do have these higher lows printing, even though this is like a lower low here. You have the higher lows printing. And then the red, the 30 minute, say it's curling in a direction, that you can, if it's not above the zero line, so like say here, like to go for the gap, this would have been a valid setup because the blue came under, the red came under, and it kind of like had those lower highs and were curling. But it was supportive within that, giving you that that cross back up, the blue above. So for me, I like this because I can really wait for confirmation. Because if I don't have, like, look at the 3 and 15 here, and then let me pull up the dual chart again. Dual chart. Put up the 15 minute. If you look in the morning, this is what I was looking for all morning. I was looking for that confirmation. So the 3 minute, it had us set up to where We were coming into the gap, but this one was already curling up. So the red was already kind of moving up to come out of zero, and then the blue kind of off the open was already above. So that retest, that blue came under the zero line, but this red was still slanted up. So when both of them are in confluence, like say this first dip, it wasn't like perfectly set up, but then the next one, the red actually came above the zero line, giving you that confluence with the red above the zero line here. So once this blue came back up, that's when you got that follow through. And then we showed the fibs on the smaller time frame. But then also if you look at the 15-minute, then you get the technical break retest, okay? And then we start seeking those liquidity levels I showed before. Nice. So that's Woody's. Let's see if I could go through a bearish example right quick. Something to give you to watch into, or not to watch, but or let's do a ticker. Ticker, we're gonna do, I mean, we could do Apple. We could do Apple today. Apple today, probably another great example. Low 315. Let's pull up the 15. Okay, so 15, we had that EMA cross on the higher low, and then the hold. And then likewise, that red was curling, but the blue was above. So if the red is curling up and the blue is above, and you're trying to hold a 34 on the 3 and the 15, that's good for me. And then here it was deeper with the shorter time frame underneath. So this one is probably more technical, or if you look at within the range from low to high, that's similar to what we saw in the index, that between 618 and 786. So I mean, the beta, the comparison of moves Apple and SPY in the morning were pretty spot on, actually, if you look at the fibs, even though the range looks way different. Another thing to take into consideration when you look at plays. And then let's just run SPY. I'm going to do something longer time frame. We're going to do 65-minute. I'm just going to run you back through here. I mean, extended above EMAs. I could put my 513 on. This is like time. Get that 513 cross, and then subsequent gap down, and then retest of the EMAs, that 8, and then couldn't stay under, and then you get that trend down. The red, that longer time frame, pretty much just sloping down. You actually have that divergence here into this high. So this was like really the true swing high, which is funny that we're coming back to retest it. So yeah, you look at for that, and then here you actually have the red trying to cross and the blue potentially either topping off or continuing up, but it's above the zero line, which is positive. And above the EMA. And then, like, say you look at the 15-minute. If you look back around this time of the gap, it's like a similar thing. You look, and if you look at the trend-based fib too, it's a nice little guide, because then you see, okay, boop, boop, reject, and then you come to that one value. You gap the one value, and then came to that profit take, try to pop into the profit take, and then really sold into that 618. So you had a lot of not capitulation, because look, the longer time frame's curling, but you had, the people reacting to this probably thinking, okay, I'm going to stop that at this low immediately, and then, selling that. But yeah, that is how I would run the setup. And then you see 15-minute below 34, pretty clear. So I wanted something that was, because like you see, the 513 works for me. I just wanted something that's a little longer time frame and gives you more of a system. Okay, you can look at this and this together within the levels. This works for possible trigger confirmation. I think that was something I was struggling to share, and it's mostly because coming up with a training system or works for you is very specific. But I'm figuring that by doing this, I can maybe give you guys some tools, some things that I look at. We could look at RSI, whatever. The Woody CCI has been good to me. Yeah, 1450, 34 EMA, 200 moving average or EMA, and then the 834. That's the main thing. The 513, I like to have something tight, but the 834, as you see, it's pretty clean, and that's the same for like pretty much any market. We could do BTC USD. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it looks good. I think this is a very calm way to look at this trading system. But yeah, even this, below the 15, looking for shorts, and then like say the 65, that longer time frame. Okay, I try to curl, so maybe I won't look for a short. It could pop back above, and then the 8 is above the 34. So it works for everything. Yeah, I hope this helps, and then I hope seeing the swing points for the fibs help as well. I would try to run through some stuff as like what I see in the markets and levels and whatnot. But for me, the main thing is we made a distinct high, distinct low. I mean, this is SPX, but you can literally just run the range, see the range, and then I would also look at relative each of these swing lows to this swing high and see where we're tracing. Look for those clusters, and then if we do put in a swing high, I could run what I did again with the fib extension. Look for deeper pullback areas and whatnot and confluence. So I hope that helps. Have a wonderful day and peace, y'all. Make sure to check out the Substack and the newsletter. Every day I post Fibonacci levels on SPY indices, and we have a nice little chat where I drop option plays and talk about what I see in the market. But I hope to give you more educational content and build with you guys. Have a wonderful night, day, whatever you're seeing this. Peace, guys.